everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to review the Resident Evil 4 remake. Now, I have took my time with this game. I got it when it came out, so maybe a week or two ago. But I took my time because I wanted to play through it, and I wanted to take my time and really observe the differences between the original Resident Evil 4 and this one, if you were wondering why it took me a little bit of time to come out with a review for this particular game. Now, as most of you know, Capcom has been doing a remake of the original Resident Evil games, particularly 2 and 3. And, you know, I have loved the remakes. I got reviews of both of them on here. I love the remake of Resident Evil 2 because as somebody who never got to really play 2 or 3 when I was younger, because, you know, I was a kid when those games were coming out. And by the time I was old enough to get my own console and get my own thing going, I had a PlayStation 2. So the first Resident Evil game I ever played was Outbreak. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that one. It was called Outbreak, and you didn't even get to play as Leon or any of them. You just played as all these other survivors and their own little stories about how they escaped, because as it turns out, more than just Leon and Claire and a few others escaped. There was a lot of people who actually managed to get out of the city, and you get to play as each of them, and it was a very interesting concept, really, and something that, like, maybe they should go back to, but that's besides the point. That was the first Resident Evil game I ever played, but the first Resident Evil game I ever earned. Let me just give you guys a brief history of me and Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is one of my all-time favorite games ever. First of all, when I was a kid, I rarely gave a rat's ass about grades. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't fail. I'd get like C's and B's, but I wouldn't really put the effort in. My mother told me that if my mom, by the way, did not like me getting rated M games. But rated R? Shoot, I'm all over the place. My mom didn't like me getting those kind of games. And she offered to buy Resident Evil 4 for me if I get a B honor roll. And I, bam, A, B honor roll immediately just to get this game. I worked so hard to earn this game, and I loved it so much from its action, and it revolutionized the entire Resident Evil genre. Resident Evil 4 saved the Resident Evil franchise because some of you don't know, at that time, Resident Evil was going downhill. It was like a franchise on the verge of being pretty much just thrown in the dumpster. Resident Evil 4 came out and brought this interesting combat survival system. It was more action. It was more fast paced. We're out with the zombies, in with the parasites. You know, in with these the Plagas, and these guys running and using weapons, and a chainsaw guy, and like the over-the-top bad guys are still here. It was such a different vibe and was so cool, and it was so well done and fast-paced that it completely changed the game. It was my favorite game of all time for a very long time. So, and it's a game I've played on multiple consoles. Every time the moment it became backwards compatible on Xbox, I immediately got it. I've been playing that game for years. It's the one game I consistently play every year is Resident Evil 4. Eventually, I'll buy it again and I'll just replay it. So, I was a bit nervous going into this because the bar, was high for me. The bar was super fucking high. And I gotta tell you, they did their damn thing. I was scared. I was like, you're gonna fuck up a classic. Instead, they perfected it. Now it's the same game, but different. And I've talked to multiple friends about it who've also played the game, and we've all agreed that the game is smoother. It looks better because of the updated graphics and whatnot. So from a graphical standpoint, it looks great, but it's smoother. They've brought things over from Res 2 and Res 3 and from Village and whatnot. Mainly the whole component of creating your own bullets. That wasn't in the original game. In the original game, you just found bullets and whatnot around. But creating your own ammunition, creating your own grenades and whatnot, it added a different dynamic. And they also brought over the whole breakable knife system from Res 2 and 3, the remakes of Res 2 and 3. And that adds a different dynamic as well. But the knife does more. Everything is more. In the original game, you could like kick people if they were like messed up, but they added more to the game. For instance, you can do more with the knife. You can straight up block attacks with the knife. Now it'll chip away at the knife and damage it more, but the fact that you can just straight up block attacks, you can down an enemy and stab them before their head explodes and the thing comes out. There's so many more options. You can kick them and kick a couple enemies away. Like you can sneak up, you can actually stealth kill now. You couldn't do that in the past one. The past one you just had to shoot. You can legitimately stealth kill now if you wanted to. So the options of what Leon can do are even more. Also, one of the complaints that a lot of people had in the original Resident Evil 4, I didn't have that complaint as much, and I think it made me a better shot, but a lot of people complained that you could not move when you were shooting. They've added that in. You can move when you're shooting now. You can dodge. You can evade. Like, there's so many more options of things you can do with Leon. That's on top of the fact that the game is designed in such a fun way. And this is one thing that I appreciated about the game when I initially started playing it, is the game designers know, like, they designed it in a way in which if you're playing this game for the first time ever, it will just be a fun, interesting, a crazy experience. You know, this is your first time ever, so you don't know any better. But they designed it in a way in which, for the fans who do know Res 4, played the original Res 4, the game fucks with you. For instance, everyone knows and you probably played it in the demo, the area in the village where you show up, guys getting fucking burned alive. It's right at the beginning of the game. You're in that village, you're running around in a circle, fighting off the villagers. Chainsaw guy shows up, you get the shotgun. Everyone's played that part until the bell rings and they go away. Everyone's played that part. Well, if you played the original, you would probably notice some differences. For instance, there is a house in the area that you can go in that there is no one in. There's just ammo and a bed, and you can hop out the window. And often, many others would use that house to just navigate our way, out the back window, so then we ain't got to worry about them. But the game has people in that house. Not only does it have people in the house, it has people practically sitting there waiting for you to come in the house. And they don't leave the house when you're running around shooting zombies. They stay there waiting for you to come there, as if the game designer knows what we want to do. And to that point as well, there's an area up top, right? There's this tower. You can climb up there, and virtually you can just sit up there and shoot them off and just sit up there and not even have to jump down there to even worry about them. Well, that's usually what you can do. But when you go up there, you'll fucking crash and fall down. They literally know what you want to do. They know what you wanted to do, and they designed the game in a way that if you played this before, if you played the original Resident Evil 4, there's enough new stuff, there's enough changes to almost make it a different game. Almost. Now, obviously, all the characters are still here. Luis and Leon and all the characters are still here. Sadler, all of them are still here. And the majority of them anyways. But now, as a game, it's about 16 hours. The original Resident Evil 4 was 17 hours. This game is about 16 hours. And when you play through it, especially if you're someone who played the original, you can tell they really cut a lot of the fat. In fact, they cut an entire boss mission out of the game. An entire boss mission. Completely out. But they added other things in. For instance, the system with the jewelry. Throughout the original game, you would find jewelry, and you could sell the jewelry. But in this game, they really put emphasis on finding these jewelries and finding the necklaces and putting the pieces in and making it more expensive to sell. So you're always on the hunt for looking for something, looking for diamonds, looking for these rubies to put in the jewelry. So there's this big, it makes you want to explore more and more of the area. So that was a unique thing that they added in. Also, the characters are a bit different. For instance, Leon, Ashley's a lot better. Plus, they gave you a new little system with Ashley. As many of you know, Ashley, it's a bit difficult to fucking have to watch after Ashley. But they gave you a system where you can call her to run right next to you or be a bit away from you. So you can call her away or call her right next to you. So they even took out the trash cans. Also, you don't have to catch Ashley as much as well. In the original game, you have to catch her all the time whenever off a ledge. Now she can just jump off of stuff. Also, from a logistical standpoint, in the original game, she just had a skirt and nothing underneath it. So it was just like, you know, she just had a skirt. So obviously, pervy guy's gonna try some shit. But in this one, she's got leggings, so you know, it's not as bad. They changed a lot of the puzzles. A lot of the puzzles are completely different. Most of the puzzles are completely different. The boss battles for the most part are the same, but the format and the area is different. The merchant is the same. He has a little bit different dialogues this time around, but he's virtually the same. Like I say, this game is fun to go through, especially if you play the original and just compare stuff. But the biggest change I would say is the story. One, they add more context to all the specialty bad guys. In the original game, most of the bad guys you fought, the big bad guys, Chainsaw Man, all that, they were just like there. And it was just like, okay, cool. They didn't really explain why they were there. But in this one, you find notes explaining every single creature and why they are and how it became a thing. The relationship between Leon and Krauser is more well done, in my opinion. In the original game, it was very vague what their relationship was. It was just like they worked together at a certain point and something bad happened. Leon thought he was dead, and he isn't. And now he's working for the bad guys. It was really just that, you know what I mean? Also, they got rid of the quick time events. The quick time events were a big thing back in the day. It was big thing, part of that little era of video games for a minute there. They got rid of the quick time events and sort of replaced them with, like, I mean, there's still sort of quick time events once in a blue moon, but they really got rid of them for the most part. For instance, everyone knows that the hardest quick time event is your knife fight with Krauser. In this one, you have an actual knife fight with him. Because you have the ability to block, dodge, and strike with the knife, you can have an actual knife fight with him, which is dope. Even though the final battle that you have with him is a combination of dodging and a knife fight, and it's really fucking cool. The relationship between them is so much better done in this one because you really get a vibe of like, this is the man who taught Leon everything he knows. This is the man who helped him become the badass that we all know he becomes. And something bad happened to him. Leon doesn't want to kill him. And hell, you even get the vibe Krauser does not want to kill Leon. But, because in the end, he's just like, you know, we got to do what we got to do. And I love that relationship. It was very fun. It was like master versus pupil, and it was like I dug that. It didn't feel like that in the original, but I dug that here. Luis also has more screen time this time around. He's like in the original, you only see him about what 3 times, maybe, and he shows up and he's gone. He even dies differently in this one too. So like, there's enough differences in this game to make it worth buying, even if you played the original. But I could go on and on about this game. I loved it. Resident Evil 4 Remake is how it's done. Now I really feel like I need to go play that Dead Space remake because I heard that was great too. But Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. So far, it's my favorite game. It's the best game I played this year. I loved it. Every bit of it. They also, one little minor thing, they also brought in that whole lighting system they had in the other games where it could be really dark and you have to use your flashlight more. Like, there's more flashlight moments than in any other one. Also, Hunnigan shows up and y'all have less conversations. She's less a part of the game. Like I said, there are certain aspects of the game they cut out and certain aspects they added in. There are more sequences with Ada. Ada Wong, there are more sequences with her. But, like I said, I could go on and on about the differences and whatnot, but this video would be too damn long. But anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and have you played the Resident Evil 4 Remake? I fucking loved it. Thank you guys again. See you again.